So I get to school him in mini golf both at Kauffman Stadium and at an art museum.
No.
And school him on a basketball. No.
Oh, no. Hey guys, welcome back to the game plan here on Storgy Stories. I'm Anthony here with my
Daddy. Where are we heading to next with our series is we continue to take a look at the cities that we will go to for Brewers games. Where's our next destination we're looking at?
Kansas City.
It is the home of the Kansas City Royals. It's one of just two of the Central Division locations that we haven't gone to yet.
Yeah. Kansas City in Cleveland?
Correct, which we've already reviewed. You can check that out in our entire game plan series. But before we go any further to get more of our game plan series, more of all the videos we do, what should we have our fans do?
Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. Ding,
Ding, ding. And that means you hit that little red button where you see the word subscribe. That will help us the most because you'll always be able to get access to our content, and the ding, ding, ding means you get notifications on your phone when our videos come up. Let's start with this guy's top 5, which include, really, you're the one who gets the first dibs on the top 5. I sort of pick up the scraps, if you will. But you got some pretty interesting spots, 4 of the 5 of which involve sports. And the first one is, in alphabetical order,
Arrowhead Stadium. It's home to the Chiefs. It's got the loudest crowd in the NFL by decibels.
I think they once figured out it's louder than a jet plane at its absolute loudest.
Wow.
That's dangerously loud.
Yeah, it's got stadium tours, press box, locker room, the field, and the Chiefs Hall of Honor all included.
Now, yeah, just think about what it's like to go on an NFL field. You've been on an NFL field.
Yeah, Lambeau.
Yep, it's just amazing when you walk through a tunnel and then you see this gigantic expanse.
Yeah.
And in the case of Arrowhead, it's about as big as Lambeau, about 80,000 seats. And the way the stadium is constructed, you ever seen how steep the seats are?
No.
Up on the upper deck?
No.
That's why it's so loud.
Yeah.
Because it sort of contains that sound and shoots it down toward the field. Oh, and by the way, about Arrowhead Stadium, what do they have food-wise, which shocked us?
Chicky and Pete's in Philadelphia. You can find it next to Citizens Bank Park and Lincoln Financial Field. They've got Krabby Fries.
Oh, they have Krabby Fries, for those who don't know. It is a Philadelphia delicacy where they put sort of seafood seasoning on fries. It's a little bit spicy. If you don't like spice, you may want to avoid it. But oh my gosh, is it good? We had it before with Brewers, Phillies in our trip back in 2018. And one final thing about Arrowhead, it has perhaps one of the ultimate tailgate scenes in the National Football League. Now, we know how to tailgate in Green Bay with the Green Bay Packers. And what's our big tailgate food, would you say?
Brats, you've got some hot dogs and a lot of the sausages.
Yes. In Kansas City, it's a bit different because they have
barbecue.
They're one of the barbecue capitals of America, if not the world, probably the barbecue capital, because all the different styles of barbecue came together as people would travel, and Kansas City sort of the midpoint in the United States for that reason. And so all these different types of barbecue came together, and we're going to review some fantastic barbecue spots in our restaurant video, which will be coming up next in our game plan series. Our second spot for you, little buddy, stays with the sports theme, but we head downtown, and it's not football, it's not baseball, it's
basketball.
With
College basketball experience. It is home to the Hall of Fame.
College Basketball Hall of Fame.
Lots of great activities for kids. They've got some great exhibits. A full court where you can pick up.
I'll take you on. I'll take you on the court. Games that you can do your own broadcast of.
Who did make the Hall for Market? We looked it up. Coaches, Al McGuire, Ed Hickey, and
Rick Majerus, who was an assistant for Al McGuire before becoming a championship coach at Utah, but surprisingly, no Marquette players have made the college basketball
Think of
Hall
all
of
the
Fame.
greats, like Bo Ellis,
Yeah, Butch Lee, Dean Meminger, George Thompson, Dwayne Wade. He'll make it, I'm pretty sure.
He'll make it.
But it is not there. And another Wisconsin connection with the College Basketball Hall of Fame is Bo Ryan, the great coach of the Badgers who took them to 2 Final Fours.
Yeah.
Number 3 for you is the only non-sports selection of your top 5. You travel a bit south of downtown, and we take you to the
Kansas City Zoo. It's got 1,700 animals on about 200 acres.
1,700 animals. You have to have a massive zoo property to be able to encompass all those different animals. Now, we've been to a few zoos.
Yeah.
I've taken to the Milwaukee Zoo.
St. Louis.
The St. Louis Zoo is probably your best zoo trip, and it might be the best zoo in the country.
Yeah.
It was where we went on our first true baseball trip together back when you were 22 months old.
Wow.
I'm taking a guess you will not be walking through this zoo and uttering things like, horses, sheepies,
Howie.
Instead, what do they focus on a bit more?
They focus a lot on the African and Australian animals, like your wallabies and the elephants and giraffes and all those cool animals.
Sea lions. Oh my gosh, the sea lion exhibit that when we saw the video that I knew you were interested. Now, we're used to seeing sea lions on our trips.
Yeah.
Where did we go last time?
San Francisco. Arf, arf, arf.
In the quote-unquote wild of Pier 39 right in San Francisco. A great tourist attraction. Oh, and the Kansas City is a little tadpole.
Yeah, they've got little tadpoles and penguins that you can see on live cam. What do they have?
Macaroni penguins.
Very little and cute, and they
adorable.
Yeah, they are very adorable. I think they're mainly black with some white spots.
And now for something completely different. Number 4 on your list. That was, by the way, a Monty Python reference for those of you that don't know. But it's where we're actually going to see the Brewers take on the Kansas City Royals at a stadium that's almost 50 years old right now. It is
Kauffman Stadium, where, as he said, the Brewers will play the Royals. It's almost 50 years old.
There's more to do than just go to games.
They've got tours that include the Hall of Fame, the dugout, the press box, and various fan areas. And they have fountains.
Fountains. Tons of fountains. And we're going to get into this later, but that is a massive fountain in center field. That's where it is, correct? Center?
There's some in left, some in right.
Okay, that's true because the batter's eye. They can't necessarily do that. And they've got a mini golf course.
Yes, they do have a mini golf course. They've got a giant kids area, so kids check that out.
We will have to probably get to that stadium like 3 hours before first pitch to try and enjoy everything and still be able to watch the game. They have a very unusual shaped scoreboard.
The scoreboard has like the triangle on the bottom, goes up, and is shaped like a crown.
Very apropos for the Kansas City Royals. And yes, they have a Miller Lite bar area with lots of concessions in it, and I'm salivating when I look at this. Yes, they have bratwurst. Yes, they have brisket tots for you barbecue fans, and they have brisket nachos.
Wow.
Come to Papa. The final of your picks in your top 5 stays with the baseball theme, but it moves to a different neighborhood of the city, the traditional African-American neighborhood, where it's the 18th and Vine area, just a fantastic area that's been refurbished. And part of that is the history of the Forgotten League of Baseball before 1947.
The Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, and Jackie Robinson, the first player to play in the MLB, he got his start there in the Negro Leagues, and some players like Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, and a lot of others like Josh Gibson and so many more have gotten their starts in the Negro Leagues.
A lot of major league observers from that time said that back in like the era of Josh Gibson, and he retired before, he actually passed away before the major leagues opened to integration in 1947. Some will say he had the best swing of any baseball player ever.
Wow.
Had he played in the era, in the major leagues at the time, he could have blown away the all-time home record.
Wow.
All-time home run record. 800 home runs would not have been out of the question for Josh Gibson. He was that talented. Buck O'Neil, who became later on one of the great ambassadors of the game as the first African American to become a coach in Major League Baseball.
Wow.
He did that with the Chicago Cubs.
Wow.
And the great Satchel Paige, one of the all-time greatest pitchers ever. He came into the majors so late into his career, but won a World Series with the Cleveland Indians in his 40s.
Wow, crazy.
That will all be featured in the Negro League Baseball Museum. And just a short walk from there is the start of my top 5 picks for Kansas City, which are sort of, again, I'll pick up from where he leads off with his. And in the same district is the American Jazz Museum.
Wow.
It's all in the 18th and Vine Jazz District in Kansas City. In the 1920s and the 1930s, Kansas City became like a center of jazz. You're talking everything from the ragtime era of the 20s all the way to the bebop era of jazz in the 1950s. And this neighborhood of 18th and Vine was the spot where it was the center of the African American community in that area. It became one of the great sort of neighborhoods for jazz music in the country, if not the world. You're talking New York City, you're talking New Orleans, and you're talking Kansas City. You had guys, I'm sure you've heard of Louis Armstrong. You got any favorite songs that he does?
Let's go marching in.
Absolutely, among some of the other great songs that he did in that era. You look at the great bebop artists like Charlie Parker. He was from Kansas City, Charlie Parker was. And jazz was really the link in many ways between blues and rock, besides the direct link between those two.
Yeah.
And the link between blues and R&B music. Michael Jackson, a lot of the great sounds from his album, from Thriller.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of horn sections in there. That all came from the jazz music that was developed through Kansas City. Think about how great of a guitarist Brad Paisley is.
Bang, bang, bang.
One of your favorites. When he goes and does those crazy solos, that's called improvisation.
Yeah.
Where did improvisation really begin with music? Jazz.
Wow.
The guys in Kansas City absolutely tearing up those nightclubs back from the 20s all the way through the 50s. That's where rock musicians learned how to improvise and do what Eric Clapton would do, and it spread on the country. And Brad Paisley, your favorite.
Yeah.
He has these jazz musicians to thank. A bit south of that area is my number 2 pick, and it is a memorial to the war that so many of us in the United States forget from the 20th century. We talk about World War II. Yeah. We rarely talk about World War I.
Yeah.
Take a guess why.
So long ago?
So long ago, but even more so, the people that lived to fight that war have passed away.
Yeah.
Those soldiers are all gone. That's why there's a museum. In the 1920s, they raised the equivalent of $35 million
Wow.
in like half a month to build this museum. And it teaches about the war that really made the United States a world power. It really made the United States a beacon of freedom in times of tyranny. But that museum also talks about how World War I, which was said to be the war to end all wars, it didn't. And they show why the events of World War I led to World War II and what we still need to understand and learn about it today. Number 3 in my list is the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art in Kansas City. Now, many different museums across the United States are really good art museums. We have a great one here in Milwaukee.
Yeah, we do.
But Kansas City's is one of the best in America. It really outkicks its coverage in terms of the size of the museum to what it offers. First of all, it's free.
Wow.
Which we really appreciate for our budget. And 2, it's one of the few museums in the world with a gigantic, oversized sporting goods piece in front of it.
Wow, cool.
What is it? You remember?
No.
It's a big shuttlecock from Badminton, the birdie.
Okay.
Imagine a birdie as tall as this house.
They actually have that?
They have birdies as tall as this house in front of that museum.
Wow.
It also has, by the way, a 9-hole mini golf course in front of it.
Oh, that's cool.
So I get to school him in mini golf both Kauffman Stadium, and
Nope.
at an art museum.
No.
And school him on a basketball. No. But this has 4,000 years of artwork inside its walls. From ancient Egypt and China, the European masters. You've got Monet there, Van Gogh there, and so much of the great American art, especially of the 20th century, and also especially the Native American experience. My fourth pick is not necessarily one location. It is a whole boatload of locations. You know how you talked about that big fountain at the stadium? We would be doing a tour of all the great fountains in Kansas City.
How many?
More than 200.
In one day?
We're not doing 200 in one day, but we're going to some of the best ones. At least that would be the plan. Kansas City claims to have more working fountains than any other city in the world. More than 200. The only city that has more? Take a guess.
Rome.
Yep. All the great fountains from the thousands of years that Rome has been around. Most of those don't work.
Yeah, because they're so old.
They do in Kansas City. And finally, Union Station in Kansas City is my number 5 and final pick in our top 5s. And it's not just a train station. First of all, it's a train station that's more than 100 years old.
Okay.
Amtrak uses it.
Okay.
You can then get on the Kansas City streetcar from there and go to a number of different great spots.
Yeah.
From there all the way up to downtown. But it also has a science museum. It's got the Gottlieb Planetarium.
Wow.
It has dinosaur fossils. Tell me what other train station in the world has dinosaur fossils?
No idea.
It has a food chemistry lab for kids.
Wow.
For you. It's also got a model railroad museum. Also the Korean War Veterans Memorial. And unlike Los Angeles, we hope that Union Station has functioning bubblers.
Yeah, and the other Union Station in Los Angeles, I don't know if we got this on film or not.
I don't think so.
But none of the bubblers would work.
Water fountains for those of you outside Milwaukee or Boston.
And we had to literally buy water when we did not want to, and we did not have to.
Adventures of hobo traveling.
Exactly.
But, hey, we dealt with it. It was fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
At least we assume there will be functioning bubblers in Kansas City when we go see the Brewers play the Royals. And we may be able to take an Amtrak on that trip, by the way.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Same day Amtrak from Milwaukee to Kansas City. Our next episode, little buddy, the barbecue restaurants. The barbecue restaurants. And we found a bunch for you that have
chicken tenders!
Let's do that again much more effectively. 3, 2, 1.
Chicken
tenders! What do you do to get his chicken tender and barbecue filled episode?
Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, ding, ding, ding. Go check the description too. We'll have some cool links down there. Links to all the places we just talked about.
So you can game plan your Kansas City trip. For little buddy, I'm Daddy. Take us out, will you?
So long from the Storgy Story Studios in Milwaukee. Bye-bye.
Bye!